Well, first we had the Russians versus the US in the space race, or the USSR. Now we've got billionaires vying to get out of our planet. Who's going to win? Well, joining me live now for Space News of the Week, Brad Tucker, astrophysicist and cosmologist at ANU. Richard Branson blasting himself off. He's not young.
No, he's not.
He's probably pretty fit, I guess.
Yeah.
Is it a risk, this mission for him?
Slightly, yeah. Look, none of these flights, when we talk about Blue Origin and Bezos or Virgin Galactic, are going for days to weeks to months. They're not going to get the same vigor our astronauts get on the space station, but they will have physiological changes by going up that high. As soon as you're starting to get 80, 85 kilometers, gravity really starts to change and blood quite literally moves differently in your body. And this is one of the points that people are a bit worried about in this great space race.
A bit like a movie, those blue suits.
Yeah, they're going for the look, right? They're going for the style here. Now, what is it going to be like when you encounter this? In some of these flights, they'll be experiencing 5Gs, so upwards of 5 times the force of gravity.
Right.
So if you weigh 50 kilograms, it'll be like you weigh 250 kilograms. That's that much force some of these rocket engines going. That's if you're 70, 75.
Would every part of your body feel uncomfortable?
Yeah, it feels like you're just being, like someone's just shoving you back.
Yeah.
And so there's going to be a bit of these issues that we're going to have to start to see how it plays out.
The Gravitron, did you love that ride growing up?
Yeah, it's great. You get that fuel flowing. And this is the thing, you get, that is nowhere near the effects that they're going to go.
A really intense Gravitron. Saturn's moon, there's a Saturn moon with a whole lot of water and life and so on. This water, though, so you've got me thinking in terms of practicalities here.
Yeah.
We can't get to this water, it's too far.
It's kind of like a giant Antarctica where you have this ice sheet and underneath the ice sheet is water. Now, this is when we look at this moon in particular, so Enceladus, which is this moon around Saturn, but there's also Titan, there's also Europa. There appears to be quite a few moons of Jupiter and Saturn where it's essentially a giant ice sheet, and you can even start to see cracks in the ice. Yeah. But what they've noticed here are these plumes. When the probes went through these plumes of gas, kind of like, imagine like geysers shooting out of the cracks, not only did they detect...
You can see the cracks there.
That's right. Not only did they detect hydrogen, but they detect methane, which is shown to be, in this latest study, a potential strong byproduct of life. Think cows, think methane, right? Now, it doesn't necessarily mean we can easily get it, but the ice sheet, we believe we can kind of drill through, especially if there are already cracks.
So we could get there and use it for fuel if we...
Potentially, yeah. So, and this is the exciting thing when you think about water. It's not just to look for life there, getting under the ocean to look for it, but I mean, these moons, in some calculations, have between 2 and 10 times the amount of water Earth does. We're talking about dramatically more. And if you find one of those essentially ventilation shafts almost, those cracks, to get underneath, you can look in there and potentially harvest that water.
ANU, a telescope there, has helped find a star that was formed just after the Big Bang, a sneaky 13 billion years ago.
That's right. We think the first generations of stars lived short, went big home, and big explosions. They had a really great short life, let's say. And they left very interesting signatures in the early universe. So when we look at the elements that make up us and our sun, we can kind of, like a DNA fingerprint, track what's there. And when we look at these very first stars, well, these are very young stars. So when you get a blue stars are very young and very hot. If you think like flames of light, stars get their color the same way.
Yeah, okay.
So blue stars are younger.
Right.
But because it's very big, it's a very young star that's burning its fuel very quickly. So you have a very big star with lots of fuel, and when it blows up in something we'll call a hypernova, as we're seeing an animation here of.
Let me ask you this. What's the best theory for what was before the Big Bang?
Well, and this becomes an interesting trick because, not trick isn't the right word, but, crux of the problem. We can calculate really up to a few seconds after the Big Bang what happened before. But when we define the Big Bang as essentially the beginning of space and time,
we're getting existential, aren't we?
We don't actually have almost the tools to describe it. It's kind of like saying, I've never walked out of this bubble I live in. What's beyond that bubble? Well, I have no frame of reference to compare to. So right now, people are trying to create maths and physics to describe what could have been beyond the Big Bang.
So someone's working on this question.
Right, and it's something we call string theory. Is there a tool to describe what was beyond the thing that we kind of live in?
That might be something for next week.
That's right.
Brad Tucker, thank you.